TV personality and frequent subject of the show, Rifkin Nash, has reportedly gone missing for a second time. The last documented sighting was when he was working on his latest case for Inexplainable Mysteries. Through confidential sources supplied by investigators working here for questionable tactics, we have uncovered facts and surveillance footage which may have contributed to his latest disappearance. Thought to be missing as well, but later found with amnesia, Inexplainable Mystery cameraman known only as Rookie was recently located in a New Mexico border town hospital. When contacted requesting an interview for our show, the hospital had no comment, citing patient privacy. To fully understand what happened to Rifkin Nash and the Inexplainable Mystery crew to this point, we need to go back to the start.
In our ongoing search for the inexplainable, we sometimes come across stories that are easy to explain. Until a closer look is taken, it is then that the real story begins to emerge. In this episode, we attempt to dissect the case of the mystifying asphalt fish, with the hopes of unraveling this inexplainable mystery. Our mystery begins here in this normal-looking neighborhood, hidden away from the hustle and bustle of the big city. This suburban paradise appears to be the ultimate utopia, but is it? Are things as quaint and cozy as they seem? Stay with us as we examine this case on Inexplainable Mysteries. Hello, and welcome. I'm your host, Rifkin Nash. On tonight's episode, we will be investigating one of our most controversial subjects ever. It all began with a phone call from this man, a concerned resident from the quiet community of Glevensville, USA. Their story was that of markings appearing suddenly throughout their neighborhood, an odd-shaped hieroglyphic-style drawing similar to a fish embedded into the asphalt. He went on to describe a community gripped in fear over these unknown markings. So it was decided that we would make the necessary arrangements for the next flight out. Destination? Glevensville, USA.
Thank you for calling the International Airport. How can I assist you today?
I need to make a reservation for 2 tickets on your next flight to Glevensville, USA.
One moment, please. Okay, yes, we have 2 seats available in business class. Boarding begins in 2 hours, and the flight will be 3 hours in length.
Okay, great. I'll take them.
Please arrive 1 hour prior to boarding. What name shall I put on the reservation?
Yes, the name on the reservation will be Nash, Rifkin Nash, N-A-S-H.
Thank you, sir. Your seats are now confirmed.
Thank you very much. Upon arriving, we made contact with the concerned resident at a predetermined location chosen by him. After a brief talk, he agreed to take us to the place where the markings were first found. Or so we thought. After a short drive, we arrived to the location described by the concerned resident as the spot he first noticed the markings. Once we witnessed these markings firsthand, I think we found what we're looking for. We immediately began to take the necessary steps to assemble together one of the most esteemed scientists, along with a highly respected Rhodes Scholar, to assist us in finally solving this newly discovered suburban nightmare. Inexplainable Mysteries contacted Dr. Irving Putwell, our first expert in the field of undocumented markings, at his office in the center of the city, where he can be found most days studying, recording, and filing the latest findings, which are continually being sent here for his in-depth analysis.
When you first asked me to examine this case, I was apprehensive. You see, some things in the universe should remain a mystery. Perhaps this is one of those times.
Dr. Putwell went on to explain his interpretation of the evidence provided and came to this startling conclusion.
These people have every right to be concerned, and in my professional opinion, should expect more paranormal activity. For this may very well be the beginning of the end.
The end, indeed. Or perhaps, working unilaterally with our team, we can pick up the trail that will lead us to the source of these mystifying asphalt fish, and finally put to rest another case of the inexplainable. When an inexplainable occurrence takes place and questions need answering, you may find yourself here at the University of Toledo and their Center for Intellectual Examination. Inside the walls of this institution resides one of the country's most renowned experts in the field of inexplained phenomenon. Our first stop was to see Professor E. Emmett Nordstrom, a Rhodes Scholar recognized worldwide who has dedicated his professional career studying strange phenomena and the effects they have on its victims. We asked Professor Nordstrom to examine the footage provided from the scene and to possibly explain the behavior displayed by the residents.
It's not uncommon to see this type of reaction in today's society when you look around and see how the media outlets continuously preach fear and terror. It's no wonder when confronted with a minor occurrence, a community will lash out with uncontrollable rage and anger.
It appears that after thousands of miles traveled, conducting in-depth interviews, analyzing the facts, and studying the evidence, our resulting conclusion can only be that there are still missing clues, which ultimately caused the trail to go cold. Then, our office receives an ominous phone call in regards to our current case file, reigniting the investigation. This is Nash.
Rifkin Nash, I need you to listen. You and your crew need to head down to Town Line in Concession 1. Once you get there, take a right and follow your nose. You're on the trail to something big. Don't give up, you're so close.
Who is this?
I've said enough already.
So what was that address again?
Town Line Concession.
Right. Okay, that's what I got. Okay, let's roll. Okay, rolling. Let's get out of here. Town Line and Concession. Everything secure? Let's roll. With this new information in hand, we were on our way. It wasn't long before we realized things aren't always as they seem. A blocked road leading us to our destination can mean many things, and usually does. Most of them bad. There is no turning back now. Wasting no time, we entered the location and headed to the area described by the mysterious caller. And we immediately began to search for anything that may indicate a break in the case. No sooner had we entered our destination when my rookie cameraman found something most interesting.
Rifkin, over here!
It seemed he had found an important clue, so I hurried over to make note of his discovery. For I myself had also made a find of my own. which I was eager to share. And there, chiseled into the ground, a fish staring at me with its dead eyes, almost mocking us, it would seem.
Yeah, we got something here. We do have something. I can see it. We keep on this trail, I guarantee you.
Unsure of what just happened, I found myself sitting in a damp, poorly lit room surrounded by familiar faces. Is this my new reality? I realize I'm involved in a game of chance when I noticed the image of my first cameraman, who is currently missing, displayed on the back of every single card. I immediately understand that this is more than just a dream. Someone or something is trying to send me a message, and it's up to me to figure it out. When suddenly, the only person unfamiliar to me began to speak, but only with his thoughts, and directly to Dr. Putwell, in a strange voice, giving even stranger advice.
To complete your search for the truth, there is only one choice, and that is to end the Guardian bloodline.
Speaking to me and revealing an artifact. Not knowing the outcome, I take it.
The key to solving the inexplainable lies here at your fingertips.
This key looks awfully similar to the images that brought us here.
I believe that some things in life should remain a mystery. Perhaps this is one of those times.
Then I noticed Professor Nordstrom sitting sternly, staring intensely.
You know why I'm here, Putwell. And you know I must destroy you. Your journey ends now.
Lincoln X-ray 5,000. Stand by. 3 dispatch, I got 2 to run back. Linda Dunwood, out of 7 of 07. Last name of Armstead, 10-4. All people. Adam, Robert, Michael, Sam, Tom.
Hey Nash, come check this out.
Hey, man. Hey. Wake up. Wake up, man. Are you okay? I think we need to make a visit to an old friend. You just keep the camera rolling. Come on.
Once we were able to gather our senses,
Where are we?
we decided it would be best to return to the studio and regroup and determine our next possible move, thusly giving me the opportunity to tell my cameraman the details of my vision. You see, like a chess game, each move must be thought out carefully prior to execution.
Talking about choose to ignore them instead. Picking sides is what they do the best, so all the rest of us can feel down when they're around. So I went against it and on the fence, and I chose the side that I can live by, but I didn't do much thinking about.
While Rookie goes about reviewing any potential footage that might help us explain exactly what happened.
It's not looking good, eh, Nash? It's all snow. Yeah, we didn't get anything. I'll just forget about it.
I made my way to my office to check out an item I found at the scene just prior to our attack. A memory card with strange images identical to those ones Dr. Putwell works with. Is it possible? Was he there today? We'll see first thing tomorrow. With the memory of yesterday's event still very fresh in my head, and the bruises to prove it, I decided to start my day earlier than usual. When suddenly and unexpectedly, there was a loud bang at my front door. Who could that be? I wondered. I wasn't sure if the noise I heard was due to the slight concussion, so I went to investigate. Sure enough, there at my front door was a rolled up newspaper. Odd, considering I have no subscription. I can only assume the paperboy messed up. Hold on. Maybe not. Professor found dead at Mystic Lake. This isn't good. Not good at all.
Hello?
There was a knock. Nobody was there. Be here in 10 minutes. Nordstrom's dead.
Okay.
This is it here. This is the building right here. Here, pull over to the right. Right here. You know what? I'm just gonna leave you this camera right here. I got my smaller pocket cam, which will definitely do the job. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I'm just gonna go get a coffee.
Sounds good. Come right back. I had to know if my old friend was present at last night's events.
Come in. Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm here because I have some questions. It's important that we talk, and I believe you're the only one that can answer them.
Oh, I'm not sure how much help I can be, but excuse me.
Yes.
Yes, hello. Oh, sure, yeah, that's down in storage. Just one moment. Please, if you could excuse me.
Certainly. Yes. With little or no time to spare, I seized the opportunity to put my paranoia to the test. Uncovering the lengths of his deception should reveal the true Dr. Potwell. No sooner had I inserted the card when suddenly the screen lit up with a fantastic brightness. A multitude of images appeared to shuffle and organize. Oh man, I really stepped into it this time.
Yeah, I'll email you that. What are you doing?
It wasn't me!
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Amateur.
Whoa!
When you're in the business of solving inexplainable mysteries like I am, the line between fiction and non-fiction can become so blurry that it can be difficult to determine which is which. Note, you can lead a mystery to water, but you can't make it float.
Doc, where are we? What's going on?
You'll be alright. The effects of time travel will wear off eventually.
Define eventually.
Let's get to shore. Figure out where we are.
Yeah, and when we are while we're at it.
Oh, wait a minute, Doc. Hang on. Look at that. This is amazing. After all my investigating, my evidence is right here.
Those markings, that's what brought us here.
Then remind me to recover those.
I see something over there. Maybe it'll give us some ideas to what's going on.
Hey, Doc. Hang on. My hair. What the heck?
It's just another effect of time travel.
Hang on a sec there, Doc. You sound like an expert.
Not exactly. I've only gone through twice. First time as a passenger.
Oh yeah, you're right, I do. I think I see it there in the distance.
As a roving investigative cameraman, I have encountered many strange characters along the way. I had no idea when I signed on with Rifkin Nash how quickly my life would change.
You see this, Doc?
Yeah, come on, let's keep going.
You got it, Doc.
Getting tired of waiting for Nash, I decided to go and see what was taking him so long. Oops. Discovering nobody around, I decided to enter the office to take a look, only to find an open laptop displaying symbols I had previously seen during our investigations. I then noticed, adjacent to the laptop, a device attached by wires emitting static discharges. Could these things have anything to do with what's going on? I thought it would be best to take these items with me. When I was returning from Dr. Putwell's office without Rifkin Nash and a weird contraption hooked up to a laptop, it became apparent to me that I may be taking over the investigation from here, but with little to go on, I may just have to sleep on it.
What the? Look, Doc. Look. Is that? What is that?
It appears to be a gateway.
What stood before us appeared to be a culmination of all my investigations. One could only wonder if this was a mere coincidence, which led me to my next move.
I don't know what we're dealing with here yet.
That's true, Doc. That's true. So what do we do then, Doc?
I'm not sure.
Do we go through?
I guess that's all there is left to do.
Well, then all I can say is, after you, Doc. With little or no information to go on, we determined the best plan would be to move forward, thusly giving us the opportunity to try and solve this inexplainable mystery.
Sleep wasn't good. Hours were filled with wondering what became of Rifkin Nash. Was beginning to exhibit the varying stages of grief. Geez, I hope he's going to be alright. I wonder where he is. God, he's probably scared. I hope he's not dead. Well, there's got to be something I can do. But there isn't! There isn't anything I can do. Ugh! Some thing I can do to get him back. I would give anything to get him back. I set up a vigil of Nash, hoping for closure. But I only found more pain. Well, I guess I've done everything I can do. Or have I?
As our journey continued for what seemed like an eternity, it became more and more apparent that the effects of time travel had not worn off, at least for me. However, Dr. Putwell seemed to be adjusting quite well under the circumstances, which, as an investigator, gives me pause. So, before we went any further, I asked the doctor to stop and rest, giving me the chance to discuss my mysterious phone call, being knocked out, my fantastic dream, and of course, being transported here. Again, unfortunately, things are not as they appear. You know, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. First I get a mysterious phone call telling me to go to some strange place, and then I get knocked out completely. I don't know what happened. Right to the back of my head. Next, I get sucked into God knows what, to God knows where. What next?
Well, I can't tell you where we are now, but I do know what happened to you when you got knocked out. You see, I was there.
Oh, really? Go on.
Well, I received a mysterious phone call asking me to go to a certain location if I wanted to obtain information. So I made my way down this narrow path to an opening. To be cautious, I took up a position behind some trees and waited to see what would happen next. Sure enough, you arrived with your cameraman.
Oh boy, when I get my hands on them.
Before I had a chance to make my way over, a hooded man approached you from behind and attacked. This startled me, and I may have made some noise, which I think may have spooked him, and he ran away before he could finish you off. I believe that he had every intention to kill you, so I followed closely to see where he was going. Due to events that were out of my control, I believe that I may have accidentally shot the hooded man. And he fell off the cliff as a result. Panicked, I retreated to avoid further repercussions. I believe that we were set up and that I was an intended victim along with you.
I'm not one to leave during a good story, but I thought I just saw something moving in the bushes. I guess it was nothing. Doc? Doc, where'd you go? Now alone, with only the sounds of the whistling winds and the hard snow beneath my feet, I continue on, in search of Dr. Putwell, whose surprise disappearance has left me wondering if I will ever get home. So not knowing my surroundings or environment, I decided not to stay here any longer, with the hopes of locating the good doctor along the way.
Putwell! Putwell!
Why do I get caught?
I may not be able to get to the bottom of this case, but I sure can get to the bottom of this laundry hamper.
Months I have been traveling. Now despair has set in, like the dark that surrounds me.
Having done everything I can do, I figured I would sit down and relax. When coincidentally, there on the TV appears a documentary on the missing man in question.
History books reveal that the void is known to be a place of infinite wisdom and knowledge. It is written that the void is protected by guardians who pledge an eternity to keep safe the secrets that lie within. It is also written to find the void, it would take more time than an average human lifespan will allow, thusly making it necessary to leave the realm of human limitations. One such amateur inventor, it is written, believed had the ability to utilize the necessary laws of nature and harness the capability to complete the search for the void. That man was Dr. Irving Putwell. History's first and least known inventor of the time machine, dedicated entire career investigating strange, undocumented, mysterious markings appearing throughout the world. Place of birth as well as his educational background information is totally incomplete and therefore difficult to investigate. Rumor has it he was born on a ship, at night, lost in the Bermuda Triangle, nonetheless. Quietly working in his spare time with his team of grad students handpicked from nearby universities, on his time-traveling device, an old laundry dryer, an old laundry dryer, an old laundry dryer, an old laundry dryer. Unknown to all on staff, Dr. Putwell had begun work on a second, much smaller time machine, made with newer technology and smaller components. He had every intention to reveal his first amazing invention to the world, and thusly go down in the history books as a total genius. That is, once the clinical trials were complete. I myself would not be a suitable candidate for the first trip due to the complexity of the device, and feel strongly that none of my students are capable of operating the machine without my constant supervision. A volunteer or test subject was required to complete the first of what was to be several trips through time, Dr. Putwell noted in his journal. Irving Putwell's current whereabouts are unknown and is considered missing. However, it must be noted that no missing person report has been filed at the time of production.
After what seemed like days, I finally made my way over. And inside this jewel-encrusted box, covered in fish markings, was something I had seen before. There, a glowing card, hovering just inside, marked with strange yet familiar images. Could this be the key to my returning home? In my attempt to activate the keycard, I began pressing the images in a random sequence, just like in my dream. When all of a sudden,
I might not be considered a big city investigator, however, I can recognize a significant clue when I see one, compared to a mere coincidence. And in this case, having seen the documentary, as well as obtaining Dr. Putwell's device, I've made the decision to investigate further the facts described in the film, and to possibly discover the whereabouts of Irving Putwell. But first, in order to do so, I must make a decision. I realize now that my only choice to reach my final goal of finding them is to make the ultimate sacrifice. I believe, you see, to find Rifkin Nash, To truly step in his shoes and walk in his place, I must be like Rifkin Nash. I am Chase Motorman. I decided to start by looking further into the documentary I recently viewed on Putwell. However, I was unable to find any more information.
This isn't so bad. A guy could get used to this kind of... Whoa! No words could possibly describe my feelings about what just happened. Time travel is nothing like it's portrayed in the movies. I'm alive! Oh, Putwell. Oh, Dr. Putwell. Ah, what happened to you, man? As I struggled to regain my composure, I realized him in the basement of Rookie's house. There I see my old dryer, along with a small electronic For the first time in my life, I was almost speechless. What is going on here? Pictures of me? Hung in homage? Candles? Another photo of me? On my trip to Cuba? And here's my watch. This is weird. And my phone. Sure enough. But who would do this? No way.
So I decided to head back to where Nash was last seen, to go over the area again for clues that I may have overlooked.
With no access to Dr. Putwell's office from the front, I immediately made my way to the rear of the building.
All I found were abandoned offices.
I need answers, and I want them now.
Not a trace of Nash or Putwell.
I believe that some things in life should remain a mystery.
Define eventually. You know why I'm here, Putwell. I'm right back. And you know I must destroy you.
I'm just gonna go get a coffee.
Your journey ends now. I'm right back.
just gonna go get a coffee.
I believe that some things in life should remain a mystery. Perhaps this is one of those times.
Time machines, gateway, kidnapping and death. So easily how the tight grip on reality slips quietly through the fingers of this humble investigator. Could all this mayhem be a direct result of my involvement in the investigation of the inexplainable? Is it possible it's happening again? I mustn't let them find me. Therefore, I will disappear once more. I've destroyed any evidence that Rifkin Nash exists. There was only one thing remaining. A minor detail overlooked is now only a distant memory. I now find myself alone once again, like the final leaf on a tree, grasping, trying to hold on for just a moment longer. Only to fall gently to the ground by the kiss of a gentle autumn breeze. I've traveled a great distance, to the point where the water meets the land. Like two lovers once separated by war, now reunited. The truth is somewhere. Will I find it, along with Potwell and the answers to all my questions? So I must continue my search. Out there.